Go. So this is the Oz report for August 28th, 2021. And let's start today with Cerebral accelerators. Cerebral accelerators are a way to increase your skill point generation. And so they have spiked quite a bit, the expert cerebral accelerators. They've spiked up to 1.3 billion. Pretty much the entire market got bought out. And that is significant because you have some substitution goods like the Master at Arms cerebral accelerator that whenever this happens will definitely follow suit, because if people can't accelerate their skill point generation through expert cerebral accelerators, then they will through Master at Arms cerebral accelerators. Now these two, they're mainly for players that have 80 million skill points or more. For everyone else, these are not really worth it. You're better off buying large skill injectors. Why that is, I show on my stream, so you guys can stop by and look at that analysis. But essentially, this is for high-level players, and expert cerebral accelerators were the ones that got bought out, so I would expect Master at Arms to follow. They've already jumped a little bit, but depending on how many expert cerebral accelerators come back into the game, this rally on the Master at Arms side will continue. The reason for that is these two cannot be built in game. They come with packs or they come with referrals. So this is a market where you don't have infinite numbers of items coming back into the game. So interesting to look at. This will not really impact the large skill injector market all that much, because those markets are too big to be impacted, and there's too many sources for those. So I wouldn't expect those to be impacted. But these two, have a good look at. By the way, right now there is temporary cerebral accelerators in the game. They're called Rebels, and they will cease to be effective after, I think, September 14th. So be careful if you're still holding those as an investment or to use, because you need to be taking them or getting rid of them. Next thing I want to look at is trig ships, okay? Two in particular. Let's start with the Kikimora. The Kikimora right now, if you look at the price, it's at a 40 buy, 43 sell. That is extremely cheap, especially considering that in April, the industry changes added a whole bunch of stuff to build the Kikimora. So these should be more expensive. You can see they got more expensive. They hit up to 70, 80 million in May, but they're now back to 40. And reason for that, one reason for that is very cheap abyssal materials. We've talked about that in previous weeks. 0-point condensate and crystalline isogen, the two things that you need to build these, are very, very cheap right now because nobody else is building anything with them. And that's one thing. And the other thing is blueprints. So you need blueprints from abyssal space to run these. And the blueprints have, hit about 5 million, I think, in contracts. So if you look at contract pricing here, 5 million, 6 million, that is very cheap. That's about half of what it used to be. And one reason for that is that abyssal space isn't the only place that you can get these anymore. You can also get them in the Trig LP store, and that's you use interstellar navigation logs to get them. These have dropped in price so much that it is now much, much cheaper to buy Kikimora blueprints and build Kikimoras. And so this market has just shifted completely. I still think that right now at 40 million, this is a good investment, because eventually, my philosophy, the abyssal materials are gonna come back up. I'm fairly sure, once production gets kickstarted again. And so that's going to be driving that and the blueprints. They're already very cheap. They can't drop that much anymore. So right now, to me, still, if you can buy a Kikimora at 40, I would. The other trig ship I want to talk about is the Nurgle. The Nurgle is the Damavik on steroids, the tier 2 frigate, and these are incredibly cheap right now. Right, so we've seen the prices come down from a high in January of 450 million down to sub 250 million now. Reason for that, we've talked about that on stream before as well. 0-point field manipulators they are dropping in price. They are farmed from Triglavians. If you want to know how, then look at Hateless's content. He does this all the time. And so they are driving, almost entirely driving the Nurgle price, and they're coming down because they're so valuable that more and more people are farming them effectively. So this price continues to go down. So if you ask me, are the Nurgles a good investment right now? I don't think so, because the 0-point field manipulators, they aren't done yet. They're gonna be dropping more in price. So I would be careful investing in either these or the Nurgles. Okay. Now, let's talk LP store items, okay? And for this, I'm going to switch over to my market trading tool real quick. Now, if you haven't seen this before, this is going to be very confusing. However, let me make this simple, okay? I've done a query on all of my favorite trade items in EVE Online, okay? And I'm looking at items that are trading below the yearly average, above the yearly volume, right? So they're cheap, trading a lot, and that the current sell orders in the game, in the Forge market, are less than 2 days trade value. Okay, that's a good indicator of showing low availability. I also want to look at only look at items that have a trade volume a day of 5 billion or more. Okay, big markets. And if you run that query across all of the items, right, then you get a list like this, okay? And you see some familiar things on here. You see the Kikimora, for example, that we just talked about, right? You see some skill injectors that are typically there, but you also see some other things, starting with the Drake Navy issue, okay? So the Drake Navy issue, you can either build it, or you can use LP to either buy the blueprint or buy the ship straight up. If you look at the LP store right now, and you look at the Drake, I've actually, yeah, I don't have time to look up. I had it open there. I redid it. I redid the search. But if you look at the two items, both of those are super negative right now. So nobody should either be buying the Drake Navy issue, right, or building it. And so right now the Drake Navy issue is one of the items that are just way too cheap right now. So this is quite amazing, right? If you look at some of the other items that come up in the query, I've taken them over to the game. Then you can look at some implants, right? And remember, these are big items that are cheap and high volume right now. High grade crystal omegas. This is cheap and not available in the game, not available in the market a lot right now. You can look at some crystal implants, mid-grade crystal epsilon and omega, both trading rather cheaply and not very available in the market. What that means is that if you look at these items, you can easily manipulate them, or B, you can look for spikes happening in the market, because whenever there's not a lot of items left in the market, they're prone to either A, have a buyout, or B, just by the regular demand, have prices spike. And so they are just very interesting. In terms of LP items, we have two additional interesting things going on. So we're seeing something that we haven't seen in a long time. Republic Fleet insignias. The captain and the high captain insignias, they're both rising in price again, which they haven't done in a long time. Okay, first of all, I hope you're investing in them right now and you bought when they were low, but they seem to be going back. Now, we don't know if that is regular demand or whether it is somebody manipulating the market. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. Prices are rising. If this holds, so if you continue to watch the Republic Fleet market in here, and they continue to rise, then we can look at items like the Imperial Navy Drone Damage Amplifier or the Imperial Navy Multispectrum Energized Membrane. where those are the two biggest items where these insignias are used for. So if they do continue in price, rising in price, then you can actually finally see these prices recovering because they go hand in hand, right? So this might be a good opportunity. You can have a look at the developments there and see if there's a good money-making opportunity there. Now, 3 other items that are in that query of cheap items that are not very available but trading in high volume are Moongoo, okay? It's neodymium, trading cheaply, high volume right now, and trending back upwards. This might be a good opportunity. Thulium, and I know we've been pushing Thulium for a while. You know, this is a lot of capital production coming from Thulium, so this is a big question mark of whether it's coming back. But we are seeing an uptick right there as well. And vanadium, same thing, very cheap right now, uptick. You know, short-term moving average crossing long-term moving average. These are all good opportunities on paper to jump in while the market is cheap. And then to round things out, we're seeing the 4 other things on that list, on that query, and that is the Centum A-type multispectrum energized membrane. This is a dead space item that is very, very popular, and it's a very, very high volume market, and also trading very cheaply right now, but not a lot left in the market, as you can see here, and trending upwards again after a long time. Contaminated nanite compound as well. This has been trending downwards a long time. It's a very, very big volume item. However, right now the price has been corrected back to about 90, which is here, right? And so that might be a good buy-in opportunity there as well. Right now you can buy it at 79. You can see I'm trying to buy as well. This is a very good investment. And then we have 2 PI items left: cryoprotectant solution and gel matrix biopaste. Both of these items are trading rather cheaply right now, and the quantity left in the market is going down. So this is both of these have have the sell orders that are actually available in game right now, less than 2 days of trading volume, which is very low for these two. And that's pretty much it. All right, we're gonna go back to regular stream. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.